They said she was cursed. Too poor to marry well. Too weak to fight back. So, they forced her to marry a man everyone called a nobody. But what they didn't know was that nobody was secretly a billionaire. In a dry, forgotten village where hunger was normal and dreams were luxury, lived a girl named Blessing. She had nothing but her beauty, her kindness, and a heart full of hope. Her family was poor. So poor, they ate once a day and thanked the heavens when rainwater filled their pots. But Blessing always believed one thing. If I ever marry, it will be for love, not pity. One afternoon, the elders came with a cruel surprise. Blessing must marry Emmanuel, the village chief declared. Her mother gasped. The boy who wears rags. The one who sleeps under the tree. Yes, they said. The quiet beggar. Blessing screamed, begged, cried. But poverty is louder than tears. She went to her childhood friend, Chisholm. They want to give me to a beggar, she whispered. Chisholm held her hand. Maybe he's not what he seems. But Blessing shook her head. I'd rather live alone than live in shame. Even her old admirer, Obina, came to mock her. So this is how low you've fallen, he sneered. I wanted a woman with value, not a burden. Blessing turned away, her heart broken. She was taken to Emmanuel's hut. It wasn't a home. It was a prison made of mud and silence. That night, she cried on a torn mat. But Ikin said just one thing. You are safe here. She didn't mean to fall for him, not that quickly. But something about the way he made her laugh, even on her worst days, felt different. In just 1 week, this total stranger had become her favorite person. It wasn't just his sense of humor, though, that made her laugh until her stomach hurt. It was the way he listened when she spoke, the kindness in his eyes, and how he never made her feel small. She knew it sounded crazy, but her heart didn't care. It had already chosen him. Days passed. First came food. Then a new wrapper. Then a lantern. Then meat in the soup. Where are these coming from? Blessing asked. Emmanuel smiled softly. The gods provide. But she knew better. One night, she followed him quietly. And what she saw changed everything. A black SUV. Men in suits. A king giving orders like a king. He turned and saw her. I wanted someone who'd love me for me, he said, not for my riches. Everyone thinks being a prince means you're happy. You've got gold, servants, fancy clothes, everything. But there was one prince, me, who wasn't happy at all. Why? Because no one loved me except my parents. They only loved my crown. I lived in a big, shiny palace. The floors were gold, the chairs were soft, and food never finished. But I didn't smile much. Every girl that comes here just wants to be queen, my mother told me. No one wants me for who I am. Just for what I have. I said. My mom, the queen, laughed. That's how life is, my son. But I didn't agree. One night, Prince, I told my best guard, Ism. Take me far away. Somewhere no one knows me. I changed into simple clothes, left my royal rings behind, and left the palace quietly. No guards. No horses. Just my small bag and my heart. He ended up in a quiet little village called Idu. That's where I met Magdalene. She was roasting plantain by the roadside, sweating and smiling. A sudden wind knocked over her stand, and I rushed to help. Thanks, stranger, she said, laughing. You're welcome, plantain queen, I replied. And just like that, we became friends. Every day, we talked, laughed, and walked around the village. I helped her carry firewood. I even fetched water from the stream. Magdalene never asked. You're kind, she once told him. That's all that matters. and for the first time in my life, I felt seen. One night, we sat under a tree, watching the stars. Magdalene did something I would never forget. I came back from the stream, then I met a guy on the same bed with her. After they had finished doing nonsense, she wasn't apologetic. After all, she pays the rent and feeding, she had said that night. That was when the love I had for her died. So how did you end up in my village? Blessing asked. It was an old woman that lives on the outskirts of this village that accommodated me after hearing my story that fateful night. If you were rich, poor, or even a prince, I'd still like you the same, Blessing said. He looked at her quietly.
highlifeng.com.
But he knew right then, she was the one. The next morning, Emmanuel was gone. No goodbye. Just a gold bracelet on her table. Blessing was confused. Why would he leave just like that? She had no idea what was coming. 3 days later, the village heard drums. Big horses rode in. Soldiers everywhere. Then came a royal carriage. And from it stepped Prince Emmanuel. Blessing froze. Her mouth dropped. He walked straight to her, held her hands, and said, I'm Prince Emmanuel. And you, Blessing, are the woman I want to marry. Their wedding was the biggest the village had ever seen. And even though Blessing now wore gold and lived in a palace, she stayed the same sweet, strong girl from the roadside. And Prince Emmanuel, he finally smiled, because he found the one thing he didn't have before. Years later, they returned to the village. She stepped out of the SUV dressed like royalty. The villagers who laughed at her now bowed. Obina stood in the corner, too ashamed to speak. And Blessing, she only said, I married a man the world called a nobody, and found everything I ever prayed for. Never look down on someone because of how they look today. Because sometimes, the richest hearts hide behind the poorest faces. Obina, once a proud warrior, admired by the people and deeply in love with Blessing. His name carried respect. But when the princess chose another, Prince Emmanuel, his heart shattered. And in that silence of rejection, something dark awoke. Years passed. Obina vanished. Many thought he had moved on. But no, he returned. Not as the suitor he once was, but as a guard, quiet, smiling, watching. Beneath that uniform was not loyalty, but a storm, waiting to strike. A heart twisted by envy. A suitor turned villain. In the heart of the ancient kingdom of Umuahia, where the sun kissed the earth and the winds whispered secrets, a tale of love, jealousy, and betrayal unfolded. The palace was adorned with vibrant colors, drums echoed in celebration, and the air was thick with joy. Blessing was marrying Prince Emmanuel, a union that promised peace and prosperity. Blessing said, Emmanuel, today feels like a dream. Prince Emmanuel replied, it's our reality now, my love. But not everyone rejoiced. Obina, once a suitor to the princess, watched from the shadows, his heart consumed by jealousy. Obina, muttering, that should have been me beside her. Driven by vengeance, Obina devised a plan. He would disguise himself as a palace guard, hiding in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Obina said, they won't see me coming. Princess Blessing began to have unsettling dreams, visions of darkness, betrayal, and a familiar face masked in shadows. Princess Blessing, to herself, why do these dreams haunt me? Trusting her instincts, the princess confided in Prince Emmanuel. Together, they decided to keep a watchful eye on the new guard who seemed too familiar. Princess Blessing said, there's something about that guard. Prince Emmanuel replied, we'll keep an eye on him. Under the cloak of night, Obina made his move, sneaking into the prince's chamber with a dagger in hand. But the prince was ready. Obina in anger and hatred shouted, your reign ends tonight. Prince Emmanuel replied. Not if I can help it. A fierce struggle ensued. Guards rushed in, and the masked assailant was subdued. The mask was removed, revealing Obina's face, twisted with rage. A guard said, "It's Obina." Princess Blessing in a cool tone. Obina. Why? The court was in shock. Obina confessed to his plans, his voice filled with bitterness. Obina, after being prosecuted, said, "I loved you, Blessing. I couldn't bear to see you with him." Princess Blessing replied, "Love doesn't destroy, Obina." The king decreed that Obina be banished, his name erased from the kingdom's history. The betrayal served as a grim reminder of the dangers of envy. The king said, "Let this be a lesson to all." Though scarred by the events, the royal couple grew stronger, their bond unbreakable. The kingdom of peacetime thrived, its people united by the lessons of the past. Prince Emmanuel said, "Together, we can overcome anything." Princess Blessing replied, "Our love is our strength." This tale reminds us that love, when tested, can overcome even the darkest of shadows. In life, never judge anyone by their outward appearance or status. True worth lies in character, humility, and intentions. What looks like a burden today might be a blessing in disguise. Sometimes, the answers to our prayers are hidden in the most unexpected people. And so, the poor girl who was mocked for marrying a man beneath her worth ended up becoming the queen of a heart richer than gold. Let this story remind us, greatness often wears rags before robes. Thank you for watching this African folktale. If you felt the emotions in this story, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Click on the next video showing on your screen for more powerful stories that will touch your heart. Until next time, stay kind, you never know who's watching.